You are not alone in your own mind. That sudden drop in energy you felt at 3 o'clock this afternoon was not a biological slump. It was a harvest. Right now, there is a high probability that an inorganic intelligence is tethered to your lower chakras, feeding on your frustration. The Gnostics warned us about this 2,000 years ago in the Nag Hammadi texts, but we dismissed it as mythology. It is not mythology. It is predation. If you click away, you remain a fuel source. You continue to feed a system designed to keep you exhausted, confused, and docile. I am going to hand you the keys to your own psychological prison. You will learn not just how to detect them, but how to evict them tonight. First, we expose the ancient history of this foreign installation. Then, we decode the biological symptoms, specifically how they hijack your vagus nerve. Finally, and most importantly, I will walk you through the Sovereign Decree, a removal protocol that breaks the contract permanently. We need to strip away the Hollywood distortion. When we speak of archons, we are not talking about horns and pitchforks. We are speaking of a sophisticated, cybernetic intelligence that exists outside the visible light spectrum. The shaman Don Juan Matus called this the predator that gave us its mind. This is the critical open loop you must understand. They do not just whisper to you, they think for you. They give you a mind that is full of conflict, full of doubt, and prone to repetitive, circular anxiety. Why? Because that anxiety creates a specific frequency. Think of the false matrix, or the frequency fence. This is not a physical wall, but a vibration control system. For thousands of years, this system has been perfected to keep human consciousness vibrating at a very specific, harvestable range. They are not trying to destroy you. A farmer does not destroy his cattle. He keeps them alive, he keeps them fearful, and he keeps them producing. But here is the danger we rarely talk about. This is not just a spiritual haunting. It is a systemic infection. Unlike a ghost that haunts a house, an archon attachment haunts the central nervous system. It integrates. Later in this video, I will show you the exact physical spot on your neck where they dock, often called the mouth of God in esoteric anatomy, but known to them as a feeding port. If you have chronic stiffness there, you are already compromised. To remove the parasite, you must understand its fuel. The technical term is loosh. This is a quantum bioemission that occurs when a sentient being experiences intense, low-frequency emotion. Terror, lust, grief, and blind rage are the delicacies. When you fall into a loop of replaying a past argument in your head, over and over, you are preparing a meal. You are generating energy that you cannot use, but they can. This mechanism relies on the R complex, or the reptilian brain. This is the oldest part of your biological hardware, responsible for survival, aggression, and territoriality. The archons exploit this hardware. They trigger a fight or flight response when there is no physical danger. Have you ever woken up with your heart racing for no reason? That is a phantom cortisol spike. It is an artificial stimulus applied to your etheric body to squeeze out loosh. But the most terrifying mechanism is the counter-mimicry. They cloak themselves as your inner voice. This is why you cannot distinguish between your thoughts and their inserts. They use first-person pronouns. They say, "I am worried," not "you should be worried." This trickery makes you defend the very thought that is draining you. There is a way to break this mimicry, a technique involving generic subjectivity that creates a firewall in your mind. We will get to that in section 4. For now, you need to assess the damage. How deep does the hook go? To know that, we have to look at the 7 specific signs of active attachment, starting with the one that ruins your sleep cycles. You might think an entity attachment is a spiritual problem, something that exists only in the aura or the soul. That is a dangerous misconception. To control a physical vessel, they must hijack a physical interface. That interface is your vagus nerve. This is the longest cranial nerve in your body, the superhighway connecting your brain to your gut, your heart, and your lungs. It is the bridge between the conscious mind and the autonomic body. The Archons do not need to possess your full consciousness. They only need to pluck this string. When they attach, usually at the base of the neck, they send a low-voltage signal down the vagus nerve. This is why so many targeted individuals suffer from unexplained digestive issues, heart palpitations, or sudden shortness of breath. It is not anxiety, it is interference. The signal disrupts the parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest mode, and locks you into a chronic, low-grade fight or flight state. Why do they do this? Because a relaxed human does not produce loosh. A relaxed human is chemically useless to them. They need you vibrating at the frequency of survival terror. This leads us to the phenomenon of the phantom cortisol spike. Have you ever woken up between 3 and 4 in the morning, your heart hammering against your ribs, soaked in sweat, with a sense of impending doom? Yet, the house is quiet. There is no intruder. There is no fire. Your body is reacting to a threat that does not exist in the physical reality. This is a harvest event. They have stimulated your adrenal glands remotely to create a burst of chemical energy they can siphon. You go back to sleep exhausted, feeling drained, while they are fully fed. But the physical drain is just the softening up process. Once the body is tired and the nervous system is frayed, they move to the primary target, your internal monologue. This is where the infection becomes almost impossible to detect unless you know the 3-word rule, which I will explain shortly. The greatest trick the Archon ever pulled was convincing you that its voice is your voice. We assume that every thought appearing in our head is generated by us. This is the fatal error. The Archon is a mimic. It studies your vocabulary, your cadence, and your insecurities. It then injects thoughts that sound exactly like you, but their intent is foreign. How do you distinguish the intruder from the host? You look for the first-person deception. When you make a mistake, your organic consciousness might think, "That was a mistake. I should fix it." That is constructive. The Archon voice, however, will say, "I am stupid. I always mess this up. I am